Jeddah, a street circuit like no other, boasting incredible speeds, diabolical curves, and explosive entertainment. Expectations were tremendously high over the weekend, considering the incredible battle last year. And with Max Verstappen starting 15th, Charles Leclerc starting 12th, and Fernando Alonso in 2nd. The 2023 Saudi Arabian Grand Prix had all the ingredients to be the spiciest showdown by the Red Sea since Moses. But
Charlie, did you tell me that before?
let's talk about what just happened. My name is Dylan Cope, and welcome to Cope Automotive, where automotive news meets zesty, passionate opinion. The second race of the 2023 Formula One season has come and gone, and most would say it was a fairly underwhelming 50-lap race. However, there's still plenty to analyze. Jeddah, the ancient Saudi Arabian city thought to have been settled some 2,500 years ago, is known for its steamy, hot weather, diverse cuisine, and hosting the fastest Formula One street circuit on the calendar. Averaging 155 miles an hour across 27 corners, most turns are left, because after all, Saudi Arabia is not one who would be familiar with rights. As all Grand Prix go, some teams deliver the tasty goods, while others, they may crash and burn into the side of a mountain. Here are my winners and losers of the 2023 Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Winner, Aston Martin. While the English underdogs may have been an FIA decision away from missing out on a massive points loss, Aston Martin, in my opinion, still delivered a stellar performance. Yes, Lance Stroll's mysterious engine brake fire drama is far from ideal in regards to both points lost as well as future reliability concerns, but this was a concern after he overtook the Ferrari of Carlos Sainz for 4th position. Might I remind you that at last year's Jeddah Grand Prix, Lance Stroll and Nico Hülkenberg were outside the points. It wasn't until the 4th Grand Prix of the season that Aston Martin scored its maiden points. Coming into Melbourne, all eyes are on Lawrence Stroll's green machines, hoping to somehow close the improbable gap to Red Bull. Loser, FIA. As a gentleman occupying the good old US of A, I'm very aware of the necessary evil that is laws and officiating. For professional sports, that is. Corporate greed, that's a whole other conversation. The National Football League has been a train wreck in recent years when it comes to officiating. However, compared to the FIA, the NFL looks about as squeaky clean as Russell Wilson directing a VeggieTales episode.
You ever done anything dangerous?
I know American football and the highest level of open-wheel racing are two completely different sports. But imagine this. Your team is a talented underdog, fighting for a chance to further your record and potentially clinch the playoffs. One of your players gets a penalty? Okay, no big deal. We're still in it. An hour or so later, touchdown. It's a win. Crowd goes crazy. Confetti, cheers, screams, award ceremony, and trophies. But wait, after the ceremony, the officials deemed that the previous penalty wasn't served correctly, so they subsequently take your trophy. But wait, it took longer than 30 minutes for them to make a decision about the penalty, so you get your trophy back? Again, I know this example has its flaws, but rules are rules, and they need to be enforced as professionally as those who abide to them. All in all, Alonso's penalty was as bizarre as they come, and I'm just glad it was sorted out. Also, props to George Russell, who was a good sport during the situation. Winner, Red Bull Racing. Like the Zodiac Killer, the Austrian champions are still 5 steps ahead from being both deciphered or caught. It's astounding to me that, despite premier driver talent, astronomical budgets and brilliant engineering minds can one driver overtake 14 competitors in just 25 laps? Massive props to the Red Bull team for their unmatched pace this weekend. Last week, George Russell claimed that Red Bull Racing would win every single Grand Prix this season. This week, Mercedes' Lewis Hamilton claimed that the RB19 is the most dominant car he's ever seen. This point would be taken more seriously if Lewis Hamilton wasn't looking out of the most dominant car across 8 years. Oddly enough, rumors have been swirling of Lewis Hamilton's potential departure from Mercedes over to Red Bull, but since Christian Horner has quickly denied any of those claims. Loser, Jos Verstappen. Yes, I understand that Jos Verstappen is not a current F1 driver, nor is he employed by Red Bull Racing. However, those familiar with him, his mentality and general influence over son Max Verstappen will know that he is a significant component of the most dominant driver on the current F1 grid. Among Sergio Perez's Jeddah victory celebration, Jos looked about as enthused as a euthanized mattress, not even attempting to make eye contact with his son's teammate. This reaction, or rather lack of reaction, set the racing world alight, with fans dumbfounded that Daddy Verstappen had the audacity to be upset over his son's brief intermission of dominance. But is this behavior a thing of surprise? No. We're talking about a guy who abandoned his own 14-year-old son at an Italian gas station for simply spinning out during a race. We're talking about a guy who told his own son he would never amount to anything other than a truck driver and didn't have what it took to make it to Formula One. We're talking about a guy who battered and bruised his own father during a 2016 dispute. So yeah, I find his inability to process his own son's second-place finish to be rather predictable. But the reason I bring up Jos isn't necessarily because of his reaction, but rather his influence of abuse over time. If Checo, under certain circumstances, continues to challenge Max, are Red Bull dealing with a ticking time bomb? Next season, if a new driver comes to challenge Max, or Red Bull produces an underwhelming car, one can assume Jos will react with the same disdain or even result of violence. It's a disturbing and rather sad reality that Max Verstappen may have to deal with. Winner, Kevin Magnussen. I'll admit, perhaps my preseason prediction of Kevin Magnussen finishing P16 behind teammate Nico Hülkenberg was a tad too critical. In the final laps, the dude from Denmark slipped his Haas into the points, overtaking a screaming Yuki Tsunoda for a 10th place finish. Sure, 1 point doesn't sound significant, but at a season where the midfield qualifying is being determined by the millisecond, that point will go a long ways in the end. Loser, Alfa Romeo. Known for its stunning liveries, rich racing history, and rather quirky driver lineup, the Swiss-based Sauber team simply failed to deliver this round, narrowly missing out on Q3 qualifying. An 11th place start for Zhou and 14th for Bottas certainly seemed reasonable, but as soon as the race began, the C43 faded into the distance, resulting with Zhou mostly being stuck in a DRS train and Bottas supposedly dealing with floor damage. Despite the lackluster 13th and 18th place finish, the team remains confident that with its upgrades for Melbourne, will be comfortably back in the points, hopefully closer to rival Alpine. Winner, Alpine. No, the French trio wasn't necessarily flashy, exciting, or particularly fast, but teammates Pierre Gasly and Esteban Ocon got the job done, beginning the race at 8th and 9th and finishing the race in 8th and 9th. The double points finish is exactly what the team needs in order to distance itself from the bottom 5. Loser, McLaren. One step forward, with a stout Q3 qualifying appearance by rookie Oscar Piastri, and then 2 steps back, with both cars receiving front wing damage, and subsequently losing out on any chance of scoring a single point. Breaking news after the team's second disastrous race was the immediate firing of technical director James Key, who held this position since 2018. This is a clear indication that CEO Zach Brown is already recognizing the severity of the team's season. But will changes come in time for Piastri's home race in Melbourne? Unlikely. With my highs and lows shared, here are my constructors' power rankings following the second race of the Formula One season. Hopefully teams can carry this season momentum or rectify their list of mistakes in time for the Australian Grand Prix in Melbourne. Thank you so much for watching my post-race analysis. If you have not done so already, please like and subscribe for more zesty automotive news and entertainment. My name's Dylan Cope, this is Cope Automotive, and Rhea Destroyer of Worlds, have a terrific day.